Good morning, students of Standard 9. I welcome you for the revision of Chapter 4 from your supplementary textbook Moments. And the name of chapter is In the Kingdom of Fools. It is a Kannada folk tale, translated and edited by A.K. Ramanujan. As I told in the class as well, while we were covering this chapter, such folk tales are found in every culture, every language, with different names of the characters. So it makes us believe the country is one because the same stories go around the country associated with different people. But these are folklores. Nobody is. These are just to give you a lesson, stories with moral. We all know these are tales prevalent in our country for centuries and they are still popular. Something about A.K. Ramanujan. A.K. Ramanujan, actually called Attipatte Krishnaswamy Ramanujan, was an Indian poet and scholar who wrote both English and Kannada. He was awarded Sahitya Academy Award in the year 1999 posthumously for his collected poems. Ramanujan did his schooling in Mysore and also did his college education at Maharaja College in Mysore. First, he studied science and later changed to major in English. He was not only a poet but also worked as a lecturer in various colleges and universities. He has written various poems, essays, and various translations. His works include The Interior Landscape, Love Poems from Classical Tamil Anthology 1967, Speaking of Shiva, Hymns for the Drowning, Poems of Love and War, Folk Tales from India, Oral Tales from 20 Indian Languages in 1991, etc. The theme and the message. The story is based on the theme that foolish people are unpredictable and can be very dangerous. So one must stay away from them even though they offer benefits for some time. The other message the story offers is that one must use wisdom and intelligence and not logic to tackle foolish people. The problem with tackling foolish people is most often they bring you down to their level. And since they're more experienced in being foolish, they beat you up. So the only way you can tackle a foolish person is by using your intelligence and if you have the wisdom. Now let's discuss a bit about the kingdom. It is a story of a kingdom where the foolish king and the minister both were stupids. They had ordered that night be treated as day and all people should work after dark. They should go to bed as soon as the sun came up. King's orders were followed by the people, but for fear of death. The disciple was a food freak. He was tempted with the cheap foods available in the kingdom of fools. He decided to stay in the kingdom. You see, a guru and disciple had once visited the kingdom and they found it very amusing that people slept throughout the day and worked during the night. Everything, irrespective of the quality of the food, was priced the same. That is, one to do. Now the disciple found this very amusing. He was very fond of eating and the food was cheap. So he decided to stay in the kingdom. Right? But the guru didn't feel that way. Now about the guru. Guru was wise. He knew that behavior of fools the behavior of fools is unpredictable. He advised the disciple not to stay there, but the disciple did not realize the danger. Right? This is the introduction. So basically, they stayed and the disciple stayed there and he became as fat as our sacred bull. And he was very happy staying there and time passed by. Now, how did trouble begin for him? He was not at all involved in that. A thief breaks into merchant's house. The wall collapses and the thief dies. The thief's brother blames the merchant for his brother's death. So what did the king do? King summoned the merchant. What was the allegation? That this person, due to his negligence, has built a weak wall, and my brother, due to his negligence, has died. So that was the allegation leveled by the thief's brother. The king was foolish, we all know. So what did he do? He summoned the merchant. He asked the merchant to be present. The merchant now blames the bricklayer. He said, I didn't build the wall. It was made by a bricklayer. So if anybody is to be found at fault, it should be the bricklayer. Now the bricklayer held the dancing girl responsible. Bricklayer said, yes sir, I by mistake made a weak wall, but I was distracted by a dancing girl, by the sound of the anklets of a dancing girl constantly passing across the street multiple number of times. Now the dancing girl was summoned. What did the dancing girl said? She blamed the jeweler for making her visit his shop on multiple times on a single day. He had to deliver her jewelry and he was making excuses and asking her to come a bit later. And so the dancing girl had to come again and again. And that's why the problem arose. Her anklets, sound of her anklets distracted the bricklayer. Now, the goldsmith, what was the goldsmith's excuse? He said, I was pressurized by a local merchant because it was his marriage daughter and he wanted his order to be completed first. That's why I couldn't complete this dancing girl's order, and all this incident happened. And the merchant, who was the merchant that ordered, whose daughter's marriage was taking place? It was this merchant's father. The merchant was none other than the original owner of the house whose wall had fallen. And this was the merchant's son. Now, the trial. A thief broke into a rich merchant's house while he was running away with the money. The wall of the house collapsed and killed the thief. The thief's brother blamed the rich merchant for his death. The merchant blamed the bricklayer for building a weak wall. He held the dancing girl responsible for distracting him. She blamed the goldsmith who did not make her ornaments in time, but he pleaded that rich merchant pressed him to make ornaments early for a family wedding. Now, this merchant was the father of the owner of the house, present owner of the house. Right? So ultimately, the king ruled that the merchant was supposed to be the culprit because he had inherited all his father's wealth. So now it was time he inherited his father's sin, and a new stake was ordered to be built where the merchant was supposed to be executed. But the merchant was too thin to fit the stake. So the king asked his soldiers to go find a man whose neck would fit the stake, and the disciple who had become fat, he was arrested and brought for execution. Now, the disciple fitted, and the disciple was shocked, and he remembered the word of his guru that company of fools is never good. The disciple remembered his guru who appeared at once. They started fighting. Each wanted to be executed first. The guru explained to the king, whoever died first on that stake would be reborn as the king of the country, and whoever died next would be reborn as the minister. The king and the minister consulted and decided to take their place. The king and the minister were executed. Next morning, guru and disciple, the people convinced the guru and the disciple to be their new king and minister, and they decided to change all the rules. So this is about it. We will meet again with another video. Till then, all of you take care, stay safe, and be well.